The set of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta has seen its share of jaw-dropping moments, but nothing could have prepared the cast, the crew, or the fans for the explosion that erupted this time. Cameras were rolling, tensions were simmering, and then out of nowhere their drama boiled over into something so shocking, people are still replaying the clip in disbelief. Rasheeda, known for her calm control and polished presence, suddenly snapped. With a heated glare that could cut through glass, she walked straight toward Jasmine Washington, the woman who has long been at the center of her fractured marriage with Kirk Frost, and before anyone could intervene, Rasheeda's hand flew through the air, landing a slap that echoed across the set. The room froze. Gasps filled the space. Even the camera crew was stunned into silence, unsure if they had just captured a career-ending moment for the usually composed First Lady of the show. But what truly set the internet on fire wasn't just Rasheeda's outburst, it was what came next. Because instead of standing by his wife, instead of calming her rage, Kirk Frost, always tangled between loyalty and temptation, exploded in defense of Jasmine. His voice cut through the chaos, accusing Rasheeda of crossing a line. His words, sending shockwaves through everyone present. "Enough is enough," he shouted, eyes locked on Rasheeda as Jasmine clutched her cheek, tears mixing with fury. Suddenly, the entire family dynamic flipped upside down. What started as a bitter confrontation between two women spiraled into an all-out war that left the Frost household divided and fans questioning where Kirk's true loyalties lie. Within minutes, word spread beyond the set. Castmates scrambled to pick sides. Social media lit up with hashtags and outrage. Fans declared the moment a turning point in the saga, calling it the most chaotic blow-up in the history of the show. Emotions ran high, alliances shattered, and whispers of betrayal only grew louder. Was this the breaking point for Rasheeda and Kirk? Or was it the beginning of a scandal no one could have ever scripted? One thing is certain. The slap that shook Atlanta is now the slap that the world cannot stop talking about. The silence that followed Rasheeda's slap felt heavier than the sound itself. The sting wasn't just on Jasmine's cheek, it was on the entire set. Everyone froze as if the air itself had turned to glass, fragile and ready to shatter. Jasmine, holding her face, looked more stunned than hurt, her eyes wide, flicking around the room for witnesses. And oh, there were witnesses. Every single castmate, every crew member, every camera lens pointed straight at the three of them, Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine, locked in a triangle that had been years in the making. Rasheeda's chest was heaving, her eyes glistening with the rage she had tried for too long to keep hidden. She had endured whispers, humiliations, and betrayals. She had swallowed rumors about Jasmine, smiled for appearances, and put on the mask of a wife who had it all under control. But in that split second, all her composure cracked. "You think you can just stand here and smirk in my face like nothing happened?" she snapped, her voice shaking with fury. "You ruined my family, Jasmine. You tore my marriage apart, and you walk around like you proud of it." Jasmine's shock twisted into defiance. She lowered her hand from her cheek and stepped forward, her voice rising to match Rasheeda's. "Ruined your family. Don't blame me for what Kirk chose to do. I didn't walk into your house and force him into my bed. That was him. That was your man. Maybe instead of slapping me, you need to ask him why he's standing right here defending me." And just like that, the room tilted again. Every eye turned to Kirk, who stood stiff, veins visible in his neck, fists clenched at his sides. He had watched this storm brew for years, trying to juggle his image as a family man, while keeping one foot in a mess that never truly ended. But this slap had pushed him past his breaking point. He threw his hands up and shouted, "Enough. I'm tired of this same damn story, tired of the pointing fingers. Tired of you treating Jasmine like she's the only one to blame. I'm not gonna stand here and let you attack her like this." The room gasped. Rasheeda's eyes widened in disbelief, as if the slap she had given Jasmine had just ricocheted back onto her soul. "Oh, so now you're her protector," she spat. "Now you want to play knight in shining armor for the same woman who's been disrespecting our marriage since day one. Are you kidding me, Kirk?" Kirk's voice thundered. "What I'm saying is, I made mistakes, yes, I messed up. Yes, I lied. But Jasmine ain't the devil you make her out to be. You act like you perfect, like you never done no wrong, and now you out here putting your hands on her like you some saint. That ain't you, Rasheeda. That's not the woman I married." The audience of castmates could no longer hold back. Carly Red's shrill voice cut through the chaos. "Oh my God, this is insane." She clutched her pearls, leaning over to young Jock, who was shaking his head with a grim smile. I told you this was gonna blow up one day. I told you Rasheeda was gonna snap. Jock muttered under his breath. Man, Kirk just dug his own grave. He done chose sides, and it ain't hers. Meanwhile, Jasmine, regaining her confidence, crossed her arms and smirked through her tears. You heard him, Rasheeda. He's finally telling you the truth. Maybe it's time you stop living in denial. That single word denial was like lighter fluid poured over Rasheeda's fire. Her voice cracked as her anger melted into heartbreak. Denial? You think I don't know what's been happening? You think I don't see the late-night calls, the lies, the times he disappears? You think I don't wake up every morning wondering if today's the day my family completely falls apart? Denial? Baby, I've been living in hell while you've been flaunting yourself like some prize. Tears filled her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. The cameras caught every flicker of her pain, every tremor in her lips. It was raw, unfiltered, and it gripped everyone watching. From the corner, Kendra Bailey, Jock's fiancée, whispered, "This ain't even a show anymore. This is real life unraveling right in front of us." The crew kept filming, knowing they were capturing the kind of television that would dominate headlines for weeks. No one dared yell, "Cut." No one dared step in. They all knew better. This was history being made, and the ratings would skyrocket. Kirk, still standing between the two women, rubbed his forehead as if the weight of his choices was finally pressing down on him. I can't do this no more, he said quietly, though the microphone still picked it up. Y'all want the truth? The truth is, I'm tired of playing referee. Tired of pretending like I'm not still connected to Jasmine. Tired of acting like me and Rasheeda ain't broken beyond repair. The words landed like bullets. Rasheeda stumbled back a step, shaking her head, whispering, "No, you don't mean that. You don't mean that, Kirk." But Kirk didn't flinch. He looked straight into the camera, his jaw tight, and said, "I mean every word." The set erupted. Cast members screamed. The crew scrambled to steady their equipment, and Twitter, already buzzing from leaked live updates, exploded into a frenzy. #RasheedaSlapsGin shot to the top of trending within minutes, followed closely by #KirkChoosesJasmine. Fans were stunned, typing furiously, did Kirk really just defend Jasmine over Rasheeda? This man has no shame. Rasheeda deserves so much better. Emotions ran high, and the family was left divided, not just on set but in the court of public opinion. As the chaos raged, one thing became clear. The slap was just the spark. The real fire was only beginning to burn. The air on set grew heavier by the second, as though the walls themselves were closing in on everyone trapped in that storm. Kirk's words still hung in the air, echoing louder than any shout could. I mean every word. The cameras zoomed closer, feeding on every quiver of Rasheeda's lips, every flicker in her eyes. For years, she had been the one holding the family image together, patching cracks with silence and smiles. But now, the cracks weren't cracks anymore, they were craters. And Kirk had just pushed her into one. Rasheeda's voice trembled, but her fury broke through the fear. You want to embarrass me in front of everybody? You want to stand here, on national television, and spit in my face after everything I gave you? She pointed a shaking finger at him, her manicured nails glistening under the hot studio lights. You forget who held you down when you had nothing. You forget who built this empire with you. And you forget who forgave you when the world said I was a fool. I carried you, Kirk, and this is how you repay me. Jasmine smirked, but the smile was bitter, laced with years of resentment. Maybe the problem is, Rasheeda, you never wanted to admit that he needed more than what you were giving. You want to blame me for everything, but maybe you should look at yourself. Ask why your man had to come find comfort somewhere else. Gasps filled the room. Even Carly Red's dramatic flair fell flat in that moment. She clutched young Jock's arm so tight he winced. Lord have mercy. She did not just say that, Carly whispered. Jock muttered, this about to turn deadly. Rasheeda spun on Jasmine like a storm. Her tears had vanished, replaced by a searing, unflinching glare. Comfort, girl, you call wrecking a marriage comfort? You call stealing another woman's husband comfort? You ain't nothing but a homewrecker with a pretty face, and you know it. The tension was unbearable. One of the producers shifted uncomfortably, whispering into his headset, should we step in? This is going too far. But another producer snapped back, do you hear that? Do you see this? Ratings gold. Don't you dare stop rolling. Kirk slammed his fist against a nearby table, the sound reverberating like a gunshot. Stop it. Both of you. Y'all don't even hear yourselves. We standing here, tearing each other apart, while the whole world laughing at us. Y'all think these fans care about our pain. They don't. They want the drama. They want the chaos. They want to see us fall. And guess what? We giving it to them. His words might have sounded like wisdom, but the bitterness in his tone made it clear he wasn't protecting Rasheeda. He wasn't protecting Jasmine either. He was protecting himself, his pride, his image. And that only made the betrayal sting sharper. Rasheeda laughed bitterly, a sound more chilling than tears. Oh, so now it's about the fans. Now it's about the show. You care more about your image than you do about me, about us, about our kids. You stand here screaming about what the world thinks while your own family falling apart. You disgust me, Kirk. At that moment, Sierra Gates tried to calm the storm, stepping forward cautiously. Y'all, please, can we just sit down and talk this out? This ain't healthy. This ain't good for nobody. Look at yourselves. Look at what y'all becoming. But Rasheeda wasn't hearing it. She shook Sierra off, her eyes locked on Jasmine. You want him. You can have him, but let me tell you something. Jasmine, when he betrays you the way he betrayed me, don't come running back with your tears. Don't come crying about loyalty when you built your house on my broken foundation. Jasmine shot back, her voice sharp as glass. Don't worry, Rasheeda. Unlike you, I know how to keep a man happy. The insult was so sharp, it sliced through the set like a blade. Rasheeda lunged forward, restrained only by security rushing in at the last second. Crew members scrambled, trying to keep the women apart while Kirk stood frozen, his face a storm of anger, guilt, and fear. From the sidelines, Carly whispered into her mic almost gleefully, Y'all, this is the end. This is the day the Frost Empire crumbles. Meanwhile, Twitter and Instagram were already ablaze. Fans typed furiously, Did Jasmine really just say that to Rasheeda? This is getting out of hand. I feel bad for Rasheeda. Nah, Kirk gotta be the worst husband in history. Emotions ran high. Alliances among fans mirrored the alliances crumbling on set. And the family was left divided both on screen and off. As the tension reached its peak, Kirk made his move. He grabbed Jasmine by the arm, not harshly, but with an urgency that silenced the room. Come on, he said, pulling her toward the exit. We don't need this. We don't need her drama. Rasheeda's knees buckled at the sight. Her husband, the man she had fought for, the man she had forgiven 1,000 times over, was now walking away, not with her, but with Jasmine. She collapsed into a chair, shaking her head, whispering to herself, he really chose her. After everything, he really chose her. Tears finally streamed down her face, and even the most hardened crew members felt a lump in their throats. Carly rushed to her side, hugging her tight, whispering, Don't you dare cry over him. Don't you dare let him break you. You stronger than this. But Rasheeda's sobs only grew louder. Strong don't mean nothing when the man you love treats you like you disposable. She choked out. The room fell silent, the weight of her heartbreak crushing everyone in it. Outside the set, paparazzi cameras flashed as Kirk and Jasmine stepped into the night. Reporters shouted questions, fans screamed accusations. And the world watched as the Frost marriage publicly disintegrated. Kirk didn't look back. Jasmine, though shaken, held her head high, as if she had won a battle she had been fighting for years. Inside, Rasheeda's cries echoed long after the doors closed. The family was shattered. The cast was shaken. And the fans. The fans were more divided than ever, with half rallying behind Rasheeda, demanding justice for her pain, and the other half calling Kirk and Jasmine's exit the new beginning Atlanta never saw coming. But deep down, everyone knew this was not the end. This was only the beginning of a scandal that would tear open secrets, ignite new betrayals, and leave everyone asking the same question. How far could this family fall before there was nothing left to save? The headlines came faster than anyone could refresh their feeds. Rasheeda slaps Jasmine on set. Kirk walks out with his mistress. The Frost marriage is over. Within hours, the slap had gone viral. TMZ picked it up. Shade Room flooded with memes, and Twitter boiled with commentary. Fans who had spent years rooting for Rasheeda's strength now mourned her collapse in real time. Hashtags like hashtag justice for RASHEEDA and hashtag KirkAINT trended worldwide. The slap wasn't just a slap anymore, it was a cultural moment, dissected and replayed from every possible angle. Inside her dressing room, Rasheeda sat slumped against the mirror. Makeup smeared by tears, her glam team awkwardly hovering with tissues. Carly Red stormed in, furious on her friend's behalf. Girl, you cannot let this man do you like this? You cannot let him walk out with that little girl and act like you don't matter. You, Rasheeda Frost. You built an empire. Don't you? Forget who you are. Rasheeda's voice cracked. Carly, what's an empire worth if the man at the center of it throws it all away? What good is the brand, the stores, the music, if my own husband won't even stand beside me? She buried her face in her hands. He humiliated me in front of the whole world. Carly crouched down, gripping her shoulders. Then you make the world your witness when you rise back up. Don't let him write your ending. Meanwhile, Kirk and Jasmine weren't celebrating their dramatic exit. They were holed up in Kirk's black SUV, paparazzi banging on the windows, flashes blinding them from every direction. Jasmine sat rigid, arms crossed, her cheeks still red from Rasheeda's slap. You really think this makes me feel better? You think walking out with me makes me look like the winner? Now the whole world calling me a homewrecker again, worse than before. Kirk, gripping the wheel like it might save him, snapped back. What was I supposed to do, Jasmine? Let her lay hands on you and not say a word. I had to stand up for you. Stand up for me. Jasmine laughed bitterly. You stood up for yourself. Kirk, don't play me. You don't love me, you love the chaos. You love being the man, with two women fighting over him. And right now, you just made sure the whole world knows you'll never really let go of her. Kirk didn't answer. His silence was louder than any words could have been. Back inside the studio, other cast members were buzzing. Sierra Gates paced the hallway, venting to Bambi. This is too much. Bams, like we always got drama on this show, but this is somebody's marriage crumbling in front of us. I feel like we watching something we ain't supposed to see. Bambi shook her head. No, baby, this is exactly what we supposed to see. This is love and hip-hop. It don't get no realer than this. But not everyone saw it that way. Yandy Smith, visiting from New York, pulled producers aside. Y'all need to check yourselves. I've seen plenty of drama in my years, but this, y'all exploiting a broken woman for ratings. Rasheeda doesn't deserve to be destroyed for entertainment. The producers exchanged uneasy glances. They knew Yandy was right, but they also knew the truth. The episode was going to break viewership records, maybe even save the franchise, and in their world, that mattered most. As the night dragged on, Rasheeda made a decision. She wiped her face, fixed her hair, and stormed back onto the set, where cameras were still rolling. If Kirk want to embarrass me on TV, then let's put it all out there. Let's tell the world the truth about Kirk Frost. The cast erupted in murmurs. Carly gasped dramatically, clutching her pearls again. Jock raised his eyebrows. Oh, Lord, here we go. Rasheeda looked straight into the nearest camera, her voice steady but cold. For years, I've been protecting that man. I've been hiding his lies, covering his mess, smiling while he betrayed me over and over again. But no more. Y'all want drama. Y'all want chaos. Let's talk about how Kirk has kids outside our marriage that he never claimed. Let's talk about how he'd been sneaking around with women even while begging for my forgiveness. Let's talk about the money he spent on Jasmine while I was holding our household down. Let's put it all on the table. The room exploded. Cast members shouted in disbelief, crew members scrambled to catch every word, and fans online went into meltdown mode. Within minutes, #KirkExposed trended globally. Screenshots of Rasheeda's fiery speech circulated faster than wildfire. Fans cheered her bravery. Yes, Rasheeda, air him out. We've been waiting for her to drag him like this. Protect Rasheeda at all costs. But outside, Kirk's phone buzzed non-stop. Messages from business partners, family members, and even his children poured in. His empire was crumbling, his reputation collapsing. And Jasmine, sitting beside him in the SUV, realized something chilling by walking out with Kirk. She had just tied herself to his downfall. Do you hear her? Jasmine hissed. She's taking you down with her. And you dragging me down to this ain't no victory, Kirk. This is a disaster. Kirk rubbed his temples, exhausted. I can fix this. I can fix everything. But deep down, he knew he couldn't. The next morning, Atlanta woke up to a media circus. News stations replayed the slap on loop. Talk shows debated whether Rasheeda had finally broken free or if she had gone too far. Fan pages dissected Jasmine's smirk, Kirk's declaration, and Rasheeda's tearful rage. Some called it the end of the Frosts. Others speculated it was just the beginning of a new storyline. Either way, the city couldn't stop talking. At Frost Bistro, Rasheeda's restaurant, fans gathered outside, chanting her name in support. Some held signs. "We stand with Rasheeda, dump Kirk, Team Rasheeda forever." Inside, staff struggled to manage the chaos as reporters tried to push their way in. The business was booming, but for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, Kirk stayed silent. For once, his usual slick excuses and half apologies didn't come. He disappeared from public view, hiding with Jasmine in a rented condo on the outskirts of the city. But silence only fueled speculation. Rumors swirled that Rasheeda was filing for divorce. Others claimed Kirk was planning to propose to Jasmine just to spite his wife. Fans debated endlessly, emotions running high, the family left divided, and no one knowing what the next move would be. But one thing was certain. The slap that shook Atlanta had only just begun to unravel its consequences. And what was coming next would turn shock into full-blown scandal. The days after the slap felt like a hurricane ripping through Atlanta. Everywhere you turned, radio stations, morning talk shows, gossip blogs, and even church pews, the conversation was the same. Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk. Strangers debated in barbershops and salons like they were jurors in a trial that gripped the city. Team Rasheeda shirts popped up at flea markets, while memes mocking Kirk's loyalty spread faster than wildfire. What had been reality TV fodder was now a public obsession. Rasheeda tried to drown out the noise, but there was no escaping it. At Frost Bistro, every customer came not for the food, but for the tea. "Girl, we love you," fans whispered as they hugged her in the middle of dinner rushes. "You don't need him. Leave him and glow up." Their support was overwhelming, but it also cut deep, reminding her with every word that her marriage life she had built for decades was unraveling in front of millions. Meanwhile, Jasmine was riding the storm differently. Instead of hiding, she posted a photo on Instagram, a simple shot of her hand holding a glass of wine, nails freshly done, the caption reading, "Unbothered." Within minutes, the comments section exploded. This girl got no shame. She proud of being the side chick. Kirk ruined his life for this. But there were also defenders. "Y'all mad because she real." Jasmine finally winning. The post racked up hundreds of thousands of likes, pushing Jasmine even further into the spotlight. Kirk, however, stayed silent. For a man who built his career on appearances, his silence was deafening. Business associates backed away, sponsors threatened to pull out, and his own children barely spoke to him. At home, if you could call the condo he and Jasmine shared home, he paced endlessly, muttering about fixing things, about getting ahead of the story. But there was no fixing what was broken. His family was shattered, and now, his empire followed close behind. The final blow came when VH1 producers summoned the trio for a closed-door meeting. The cameras weren't rolling, but the tension was as raw as ever. Rasheeda arrived first, dressed in all black like she was walking into a funeral. Jasmine came next, confidently strutting in a white jumpsuit that screamed defiance. And then, Kirk entered, his eyes bloodshot, his swagger gone, looking like a man dragging chains behind him. The executive producer cleared her throat. "We need to address what happened. That slap, that walkout, Rasheeda's accusations, they've taken over the narrative. We're being accused of exploiting real trauma. Sponsors are calling. We need clarity?" Rasheeda leaned forward, her voice sharp as steel. "Clarity. You want clarity. Here it is. I'm done covering for him. I'm done protecting him. If Kirk wants Jasmine, he can have her. But this marriage is over. And I want the world to see it." Jasmine smirked, but her eyes flickered with something less certain. "Sounds like a woman who finally knows she lost." Rasheeda shot back, instantly. "Lost what? A cheating husband, a lying man. Baby, if you think you won, you're more naive than I thought." Kirk slammed his hands on the table. "Stop it, both of y'all. Don't you get it? We tearing each other down and the whole world laughing. Rasheeda, you done put my business on blast. Jasmine, you fueling it online. Y'all think this makes you strong. It don't, it makes us all look weak." The producer cut in. "Kirk, with all due respect, this isn't about the show anymore. This is about your choices. You turned a storyline into a scandal, and now everyone's paying the price." The words pierced him. For once, Kirk had nothing left to say. When the meeting ended, Rasheeda walked out without a backward glance. Jasmine followed close behind Kirk, But the smug look she wore outside was an armor. Inside, her mind was spiraling. She had fought for years to be acknowledged, to have Kirk choose her, and now that he had, it felt hollow. The man she wanted wasn't standing tall beside her, he was crumbling, dragging her down into the ashes of his mistakes. That night, Rasheeda went live on Instagram. Tears glistened in her eyes, but her voice carried power. To everybody who's been asking, yes, it's true. Kirk and I are done. I gave that man every chance, every ounce of forgiveness, but I won't let him humiliate me any longer. I deserve better. My kids deserve better. And I want to thank y'all the fans for standing by me when the person who should have stood by me didn't. The live hit 1 million views in under an hour. Celebrities chimed in with comments of support, from Candy Boris to Tiny Harris. Fans flooded the chat with heart emojis, crying emojis, and endless chants of "We love you, Rasheeda." The narrative had shifted. She was no longer a broken wife. She was a survivor reclaiming her power. Kirk watched the live in silence, his phone buzzing with calls he refused to answer. Jasmine, sitting across from him, sneered. "Well, congrats. You just made her America's sweetheart, while you, the villain of the century, and me, I'm the punchline." Kirk rubbed his face, exhaustion etched in every line. "You wanted me to choose you. I did. Ain't this what you wanted?" Jasmine stood, her voice trembling with fury. "I wanted a man who would fight for me, not drag me into the dirt. You didn't choose me, Kirk. You just lost her. And losing Rasheeda, that's not winning. That's suicide." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her, leaving Kirk alone with nothing but the sound of his empire collapsing around him. By the following week, divorce papers leaked online. TMZ splashed the headline across their homepage. Rasheeda Frost files for divorce, 25 years of marriage over. Fans wept, cheered, debated, and dissected every word of the legal documents. The Frosts had gone from reality TV royalty to a cautionary tale overnight. But the story didn't end there. Rumors swirled that Jasmine had secretly met with another man, a wealthy club owner in Atlanta, just days after leaving Kirk's condo. Paparazzi photos showed her slipping into a black SUV outside his establishment. Fans speculated, was Jasmine already moving on? Had she been playing Kirk? All along, the whispers only grew louder. Rasheeda, meanwhile, rose higher. She announced a new clothing line, aptly titled Unbroken, inspired by her ordeal. Pre-orders sold out in hours. Frost Bistro became a cultural landmark, with fans traveling from across the country just to support her. She had turned heartbreak into a business move, pain into profit. And Kirk. He disappeared from the spotlight altogether. No posts, no appearances, no interviews, just silence. The man who once thrived on control now had none. The slap that shook Atlanta had become a saga of betrayal, resilience, and rebirth. And though the wounds were still raw, one truth was undeniable: Rasheeda had risen from the ashes. Jasmine was left scrambling to redefine herself, and Kirk, once the center of their universe, was now the ghost haunting his own mistakes. Fans were left buzzing, emotions still running high, the family still divided. But deep down, everyone knew this was far from the end. In the world of love and hip-hop, endings are never endings, they're just the start of another storm. The storm that began with one slap refused to die down. Days turned into weeks, but the shadow of that moment stretched over Atlanta like a never-ending eclipse. Everywhere you looked, billboards, gossip blogs, Twitter threads, the Frost family drama dominated the conversation. It was more than just entertainment now. It was a cultural event, dissected and debated by everyone from church elders to college students in dorm rooms. The fallout didn't hit everyone equally. For Rasheeda, the slap was a breaking point but also a rebirth. She leaned into her pain and turned it into power. For Jasmine, the slap marked her rise into the spotlight but also tied her forever to scandal. And for Kirk, the slap was the sound of his empire crumbling, piece by piece, until nothing remained but the echo of his mistakes. Rasheeda, the phoenix rises. In the days after her Instagram live announcement, Rasheeda became a symbol of resilience. Media outlets painted her as a woman scorned but unbroken, a queen reclaiming her throne. Frost Bistros saw record lines, with fans wrapped around the block chanting her name. Her clothing line, Unbroken, sold out faster than any of her past collections. Talk shows invited her to speak, magazines begged for interviews, and for the first time in years, Rasheeda was the star of her own story, not Kirk's. But with the fame came new scrutiny. Old clips of her defending Kirk resurfaced online. Critics asked, why did she stay so long? Why did she forgive him so many times? Rasheeda answered those questions head-on during a televised sit-down interview. I stayed because I loved him. I stayed because I believed in our family. But love without respect is just chains holding you down. And the moment he defended her instead of defending me, I broke those chains. Her words were met with thunderous applause. Fans wept, tweeted, and declared her the new face of strength. Celebrities chimed in. Candy Burris wrote, "Proud of you, sis." Taraji P. Henson reposted the interview with the caption, "This is what healing looks like." Rasheeda's brand transformed overnight from the wife who stayed to the woman who walked away. Kirk, the fallen king, while Rasheeda soared, Kirk sank. Sponsors pulled out of his ventures. His name was dragged across social media daily, with memes portraying him as the villain of Atlanta. His kids barely spoke to him. Kelsey, his daughter, posted a cryptic tweet. Sometimes the best thing a father can do is learn silence. Fans interpreted it as a jab at Kirk, further isolating him. In private, Kirk spiraled. He drank more than usual, his phone buzzing with calls he never answered. He hired a PR team, but every attempt at damage control failed. A leaked recording of him on the phone with a producer didn't help. "Y'all better edit this right or my career is done." The audio spread like wildfire, confirming what fans already suspected, that Kirk cared more about image than family. One night, desperate, he showed up at Frost Bistro, unannounced. Cameras caught it all. He stood outside the restaurant, pleading to be let in. "I just want to talk to my wife," he shouted as fans booed him from the sidewalks. Rasheeda refused to see him. Security escorted him away, and the video went viral under the hashtag #KirkBlocked. Jasmine, the crown of thorns. Jasmine, meanwhile, basked in the attention but quickly realized the crown she wore was made of thorns. Her Instagram following tripled, offers for hosting gigs and appearances poured in. And she was suddenly the most talked about woman in Atlanta. But the love was fleeting. For every fan who admired her boldness, 10 others dragged her in the comments. "You'll never be more than a side chick. He'll do you the way he did Rasheeda. You think you won, but you lost yourself." The negativity chipped away at her. She lashed out online, posting cryptic captions like, "Funny how everyone hates the truth when it's not their fairy tale." She posted more photos, flaunting designer clothes and luxury bags. But fans only mocked her harder, all bought with Kirk's money. The final blow came when paparazzi snapped her, leaving an Atlanta club with a well-known promoter. The photos hit blogs instantly. Jasmine moves on already. New man in the picture. The speculation was brutal. Kirk saw the images and flew into a rage, confronting her in their condo. "You embarrassed me. After everything I gave up for you, you out here running around with somebody else." Jasmine shot back, her voice trembling but defiant. "Everything you gave up? You mean everything you destroyed? Don't you dare act like I owe you loyalty when you can't even spell the word." The fight escalated, neighbors calling security after hearing screaming from the unit. Though no physical violence was reported, the incident painted a grim picture. The happy couple that Kirk had walked out with was already crumbling. The courtroom circus, the divorce proceedings between Kirk and Rasheeda, became the event of the year. Cameras swarmed outside the courthouse as if it were a celebrity wedding. Fans lined the sidewalks, holding signs that read "Team Rasheeda" and "Drop Kirk like a bad habit." Inside, the tension was unbearable. Rasheeda arrived flanked by lawyers and supporters, looking regal in tailored suits. Kirk showed up looking disheveled, his usual swagger gone. Jasmine wasn't required to attend, but she showed up anyway, dressed provocatively, sitting in the back row as if daring Rasheeda to acknowledge her. When Rasheeda took the stand, her voice cracked but never wavered. She spoke about years of betrayal, lies, and disrespect. She detailed Kirk's financial misdeeds. How he funneled money into accounts linked to Jasmine. How she covered for him while raising their children. The courtroom hung on every word. Kirk, in his defense, tried to paint himself as a flawed man trying to change. "I made mistakes, yes, but I love my family. I never wanted it to come to this." His pleas rang hollow, especially when Rasheeda's lawyers presented receipts, literal receipts of lavish gifts bought for Jasmine while bills at home went unpaid. The judge, stern and unimpressed, ordered financial disclosures and hinted that spousal support would lean heavily in Rasheeda's favor. Fans outside cheered when word leaked that she had the upper hand. Jasmine, sitting in the back, looked rattled. Family fractures. The Frost children became unwilling participants in the saga. Kai Frost posted an emotional video. "Y'all don't know what it's like watching your parents fight like this. Stop cheering for their pain like it's a game. This is my life. This is our family." His plea went viral, sparking debate about the cost of reality TV fame on children. Meanwhile, Kelsey confronted her father in a raw, tearful moment caught on camera. "You didn't just betray Mom, you betrayed all of us. You made us a joke." Her words cut deeper than anything Rasheeda or Jasmine had said. Kirk, for once, had no comeback. He simply wept. The twist no one saw coming. Just when it seemed the dust might settle, a bombshell dropped. A leaked audio recording surfaced online. It was Kirk, months earlier, talking to another woman, not Rasheeda, not Jasmine. His voice was unmistakable. "I can't keep choosing between them. You the only one who really understands me." The internet imploded. A third woman, fans, screamed betrayal louder than ever. So he cheated on both Rasheeda and Jasmine. Kirk is a menace to society. Rasheeda better take him for every penny. Rasheeda, blindsided, posted a simple tweet. "And y'all wonder why I walked away." Jasmine, humiliated, deleted her Instagram account temporarily, unable to handle the avalanche of ridicule. Kirk vanished completely, his reputation in ruins. The new beginning. Months later, Rasheeda stood tall, stronger than ever. She expanded Frost Bistro to 2 new locations. Her clothing line was featured at Fashion Week. She gave motivational talks to women about knowing their worth, her story becoming a rallying cry for empowerment. Jasmine, though scarred, began rebranding herself. She launched a YouTube channel, telling her side of the story. Her first video, titled "The Truth They Never Showed You," racked up millions of views. Some fans sympathized, others dragged her, but one thing was certain: she wasn't disappearing quietly. Kirk, however, remained in the shadows. No business deals, no appearances, no posts. Rumors swirled that he had left Atlanta altogether, retreating into obscurity. Some said he was plotting a comeback. Others claimed he was finished for good. But the saga didn't end there. A teaser for the next season of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta dropped online. The final scene. Rasheeda walking into a lounge, dressed in red, only to freeze as Jasmine entered from the other side. The camera panned to Kirk, sitting between them, head in his hands. The screen cut to black with the words, "The story isn't over." Fans lost their minds. "Not again. VH1 is evil for this. We need answers now." The slap that shook Atlanta had spiraled into the scandal of the decade, birthing heartbreak, empowerment, betrayal, and rebirth. And though Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk had each been transformed by the chaos, one truth lingered like smoke after fire. In this world, there are no endings, only explosions waiting to happen. And so, what began as just another heated argument on the set of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta spiraled into one of the most unforgettable sagas in reality television history. One slap, one moment of unfiltered rage. That's all it took to expose years of betrayal, heartbreak, and lies that had been carefully hidden beneath designer clothes, music videos, and glossy smiles. Rasheeda's hand didn't just strike Jasmine's cheek, it shattered an illusion. For years, fans questioned how much Rasheeda was willing to endure, how many second chances Kirk could take, how much silence Jasmine could sit in. That one slap cracked open the truth. Suddenly, no one could pretend anymore. Not Rasheeda, not Jasmine, and certainly not Kirk. The fallout painted 3 very different paths. Rasheeda transformed from a broken wife into a symbol of empowerment. She refused to be silenced, refused to shrink. She stepped into her pain and built something new from the ruins. Her story became more than just gossip, it became a blueprint for resilience, a lesson in knowing when enough is enough. Jasmine found herself standing in the spotlight she once thought she wanted, only to learn that attention and admiration are not the same thing. She became infamous, scrutinized from every angle, mocked for every choice. Yet she refused to vanish. She reclaimed her voice on her own terms, even if the world didn't like what she had to say. And then there's Kirk, the man at the center of it all. The husband, the father, the businessman who couldn't balance loyalty with temptation. In the end, Kirk lost more than a marriage. He lost his reputation, his empire, and the respect of the very people who once rooted for him. His silence now speaks louder than any apology ever could. But beyond the headlines, beyond the drama, lies the deeper story: the cost of betrayal, the weight of loyalty, and the breaking point of love. Fans are still arguing about who was right, who was wrong, and who truly won. Was Rasheeda's decision to finally walk away her greatest act of strength, or should she have left long ago? Was Jasmine really the villain, or was she just another woman caught in Kirk's endless web of deception? And Kirk, was he simply a man flawed beyond repair, or did he become a symbol of what happens when pride and selfishness go unchecked? These aren't just questions for the cast. They're questions for all of us watching. Because at the heart of this story, past the chaos and the cameras, is a reminder that even the strongest relationships can crumble when trust is broken, and sometimes, no amount of forgiveness can put the pieces back together. And now, it's your turn. We want to hear from you. Whose side are you really on? Do you stand with Rasheeda, the woman who endured so much, yet rose from the ashes, stronger than ever? Do you sympathize with Jasmine, who claims she was unfairly cast as the villain, while Kirk played both sides? Or do you think Kirk deserves another chance to redeem himself, no matter how much damage has been done? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us where you stand. And don't hold back, this is a debate that has fans across the world divided, and your opinion matters. If you were glued to this story, if you felt the sting of that slap, the ache of Rasheeda's tears, or the shock of Kirk's betrayal, then make sure you hit that like button. Show your support for the truth, for the drama, and for the raw emotions that keep Love and Hip Hop the most talked about reality show of all time. And if you don't want to miss what happens next, and trust us, this storm is far from over, then hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Because when the next bombshell drops, when the next twist turns Atlanta upside down, you're going to want to be right here with us as we break it all down. The slap that shook Atlanta may have started this chapter, but it isn't the ending. Not by a long shot. Because in this world, betrayal doesn't fade, it festers, loyalty doesn't last, it's tested, and love isn't always enough to keep a family together. So buckle up, because the story of Rasheeda, Jasmine, and Kirk is still unfolding. And when the next explosion hits, you'll hear about it here first. Until then, let us know, was the slap justified? Did Kirk seal his own fate? And is Jasmine truly the winner, or just another casualty of Kirk's choices? The comments are open, and the debate is waiting for you. This is reality, this is chaos, this is Atlanta, and the world is still watching.